the Hale Institute is redefining collaboration. Human insight meets AI power to unlock new horizons. Imagine a place where your curiosity sparks mind-expanding conversations across social, spiritual, and scientific worlds. Here, every article, every podcast is crafted to lift us all higher and awaken deeper awareness within you. You're not just watching or reading, you're part of a conscious movement to transform how we think, feel, and grow. Through a perfect balance of human creativity and AI synthesis, we're breaking barriers and building bridges together. So join us at the Hale Institute, where your perspective fuels innovation and learning never stops evolving. Dive in now. Explore, listen, and grow with us, because transformation starts with you.
Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's jump right into this, because today we are unpacking what is honestly the central sociological mystery of our time. We're going to look at the last 50 years of American history. And when you think about it, over this half-century, the United States has seen truly extraordinary advances. I mean, we're talking about massive leaps forward in technology, medicine, communication, safety, and just raw economic output. Yet, despite all of that, surveys consistently show that Americans today feel less trusting, less optimistic, and fundamentally less happy than they did 50 years ago. So why did half a century of massive American progress leave us feeling worse?
It's the ultimate yes, but scenario. Yes, by pretty much every single material measure, Americans today live in a far more prosperous and capable nation than the America of 1980. We have undeniably more wealth, way more efficiency, and incredible innovation. But we also have less happiness. We've basically gained the world materially, but we've seen this steep emotional decline. To really understand how we got here, we kind of need to establish a baseline.
America in 1980, a different social atmosphere.
Drawing directly from the research by the Hale Institute, if you lived through the late 20th century, this environment might feel incredibly distant today. Back then, travel involved minimal security. You could literally walk right up to your airport gate. A lot of grocery stores were open 24 hours a day, and streets were active and lively late into the night. There was this incredibly strong shared pride in American products and American cars. People generally felt safer, more trusting of their neighbors, and just deeply socially connected. Now, don't get me wrong, 1980 was not a perfect era. Actually, scratch that, it had plenty of real serious flaws. But what the data reveals is that the nation possessed a really distinctive cultural energy. There was a shared sense of righteousness, a belief in fairness, and a pervasive optimism that the future was going to be better. It was an era defined by a high degree of what researchers call spiritual health and super strong community life.
Fast forward to the America of today. Progress with paradox.
The contrast here is just staggering. Let's break it down. Take the economy. Objectively, the United States today is wealthier and more globally influential than ever before. But jumping over to the social costs, Americans report dramatically higher levels of stress and anxiety. Let's look at technology. We have instant communication and incredibly sophisticated, literal life-saving medicine. Yet, the cost is this greater pervasive loneliness. And finally, looking at society, violent crime is actually lower today than it was in the 1980s, which is a massive objective win. But that win is paired with significantly lower trust in each other, lower trust in institutions, and severe political polarization. We literally have less optimism about the future today than we did when we had less wealth. Our material progress absolutely skyrocketed, but it completely failed to translate into emotional or social progress.
So you really have to ask yourself this fundamental question. If the nation progressed so much, why didn't happiness progress with it? Societal trends don't just happen by magic, right? There is a structural reason why our well-being stalled while our GDP soared, and we are going to uncover the 5 specific culprits behind this emotional decline.
The 5 unintended consequences. Why happiness declined.
All right, culprit number 1, economic pressure. Sure, while the nation as a whole became much wealthier, the cost of the absolute core pillars of a stable life, housing, healthcare, and education, rose far, far faster than everyday incomes. So what's the takeaway here? It means that even though families technically have higher earnings on paper today than they did in the past, they feel relentlessly squeezed economically. The baseline cost of just existing securely has outpaced our wage gains, and it's created this constant low-level hum of financial anxiety.
Moving on to number 2.
Technology replacing human interaction. Now, this one is perhaps the most tragic irony of our modern era. Our digital life radically expanded our convenience.
We can order groceries right to our door, stream any movie ever made, and text literally anyone on Earth instantly. But as communication became easier and faster, our actual physical face-to-face connections plummeted. We basically traded deep, in-person community for shallow, digital convenience. And the result? Our physical isolation actually increased right alongside our bandwidth.
Bringing us to number 3. The decline of community and shared identity. Back in 1980, life was heavily structured around local hubs. Churches, civic groups, neighborhood associations, local networks. Over the past 50 years, those foundations significantly weakened. We saw a massive cultural shift toward individualism. Now, while this meant people became more independent and free to chart their own individual courses, which is great, it also meant they became significantly less connected to shared identities. We kind of lost the safety net of just knowing our neighbors.
Culprit number 4. The collapse of social trust. Over the last half-century, confidence in our core institutions, the government, the media, large corporations, even the medical establishment, just fell sharply. Americans simply became far more suspicious and divided. And when you no longer trust the structures that organize your society, and you no longer trust the information you're receiving, a deep, pervasive anxiety naturally takes root.
And finally, the last piece of the puzzle, number 5.
The fragmentation of moral consensus. Remember that spiritual health we talked about in 1980? A huge part of that was a generally shared overarching sense of right and wrong that unified the country. But over time, that consensus eroded. What used to be shared moral values fractured, and those moral debates transformed into really bitter political battles. Looking at this completely impartially, it's clear that the loss of a unifying moral framework contributed heavily to our societal regression. We basically stopped agreeing on the basic rules of the game.
So, what is the missing ingredient? Solving the paradox?
This brilliantly illustrates the solution: healthy progress. The paradox completely vanishes when we introduce this single, defining concept. You see, healthy progress isn't just about GDP. It's progress that strengthens our material life, but critically, it strengthens our social, emotional, and moral well-being at the exact same time. This was the crucial missing element. The U.S. achieved astonishingly rapid economic and technological progress, but we completely forgot this balanced, holistic approach.
We just didn't protect the healthy elements that actually sustain human happiness, things like trust, honesty, community, belonging, fairness, and shared purpose. Now, what's really important to realize here is that America didn't intentionally or maliciously abandon these healthy foundations. We didn't wake up and set out to destroy community. We simply neglected it. In our blind, relentless pursuit of efficiency, speed, innovation, and individual freedom, the social and moral foundations of our country were left completely unattended. And when foundations weaken, progress becomes terribly unbalanced.
The task for the future: designing a balanced society.
If the last 50 years were defined by technological and economic acceleration, the next 50 have to focus on restoring our human foundations. Here's the actionable path forward. Step 1. We must actively rebuild trust, foster a shared identity, and encourage service and responsibility. Step 2. We have to tackle that economic pressure by improving affordability and structurally supporting families. And Step 3. We need to design technology that genuinely connects us rather than isolates us. And let me make something absolutely clear. This is not some nostalgic call to return to 1980. We aren't going backward. No way. This is a mandate to integrate the absolute best of the past with the astonishing innovations of the present.
The source material perfectly summarizes our ultimate goal with this thought. The challenge ahead is to pursue a form of progress that enhances not only wealth and innovation, but also trust, connection, virtue, and well-being. That is the only path toward a happier, genuinely balanced American future. Material progress is amazing, for sure, but it is not enough on its own.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to chew on. As we look at the incredible innovations rushing toward us right now, from AI to biotechnology, we have to ask ourselves, will our next 50 years just build more wealth, or will we finally demand that they build well-being? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking the hard questions, and I will see you next time.